Well. The World Cup is here. And everybody out there knows how the World Cup works, right? Not me. So I'm going to watch a little video here today that tells me a little bit more about how people qualify, what happens when they're at the tournament, who plays who, how long does a tournament last, all of those things. I just never really looked into it. So this is going to be a great video that's going to help us do that. It's called the World Cup Explained for Beginners. That's me. And it's by Football Explained. Link will be in the description. Head on over there, support their channel. I'm sure that would be great. This is going to be a lot of fun. I do know that football is no joke. I had a channel, American Offside, where I did over 350 videos about football. So I know that there's a lot that goes into it, but I just never learned about the World Cup. So let's see what we can see.
What is the World Cup? The World Cup is the biggest international football tournament in the world. Unlike club football, where teams like Real Madrid, Manchester United, Arsenal or Barcelona compete, the World Cup is all about countries. Instead of supporting a club, fans are watching national teams like Brazil, Argentina, England, France, and many others compete to become world champions. The tournament is organized by FIFA and usually takes place every 4 years.
And I did not learn, I learned that they can play for clubs and things like that, you know, and obviously they play for their home country. So, which is kind of different from the U.S. Yeah. Okay. Let's just keep. Well, the U.S. does have a MLS. So, all right, hold on.
Champions. The tournament is organized by FIFA and usually takes place every 4 years. That is part of what makes it feel so special. You do not get a World Cup every season, you get one every 4 years. So every tournament feels like a major global event. At its simplest, the World Cup is football's way of answering one question: which country has the best national team in the world? Why does the World Cup matter? The World Cup matters because it is bigger than just another football tournament. For many countries,
that right there.
The World Cup matters because it is bigger than just another football.
Oh man, that just reminds me of Messi and everything that he had to go through. So, oh man, sorry. let me stay focused. Stay focused, Lewis. Subscribe.
Football tournament. For many countries, it becomes a national event. People who do not normally watch football suddenly tune in. Families, friends, cities, and entire nations follow their team together, because when your country plays, it feels personal. It also matters because players are not representing a club team that they play for every season. They're representing where they come from. That creates a different type of pressure. A mistake can hurt an entire nation, but a great performance can make a player a national hero forever. And because the World Cup only happens every 4 years, chances are limited. A great generation of players might only get 1 or 2 real opportunities to win it. That is why every match feels important, and why winning the World Cup is seen as one of the biggest achievements in football or a player's career.
I think, wasn't it the one when I was living in the U.S.? I mean, I never really watched football, and over there it was called soccer. But the one that I remember was, I think it was France against Argentina, where Mbappe went crazy and, like, was it the second half and scored 3 goals or something like that? I forgot what year that was. It must have been 2018, I think. Does that sound about right? 2018. Yeah, I think that's about right. It was a 2022. No, it had to be 2018, I think. But yeah, that's like my World Cup memory, because the US is not great usually. The women's team is, but not the men's. So usually not involved in it. But I do remember that. And I think, oh man, I don't remember the years, but was this the year that France played Argentina? I could be completely wrong, and I'm okay if you tell me that I am, but I think that's how it was.
Who gets to play in the World Cup? Not every country automatically gets to play in the World Cup. Before the tournament begins, countries have to qualify through their own region. Europe has its own process, South America has its own, and Africa, Asia, North America, and Oceania all have their own routes too. The host nations qualify automatically. For everyone else, it has to be earned. For new fans, the easiest way to follow the teams is to think of it in 4 categories. The favorites, nations with the squads and experience to go all the way. France, Brazil, Argentina, England, Spain, Germany, and with the squads and experience to go all the way. France, Brazil, Argentina, England,
Spain. That's what I'm going for. Their team is stacked from what I remember and what I learned. So I can't wait to watch some of them. Okay, I'm just seeing who's here. I don't see Lamar. You mean Lamar? Lamar, you mean? Oh my God. That has embarrassed myself.
Spain, Germany, and Portugal are usually the suspects. The dark horses, they're the teams that could surprise everyone. Norway are a compelling example this year, qualifying for their first World Cup in decades, with Erling Haaland leading their attack. The underdogs are nations who very few expect to go far, but who create the tournament's best stories. In 2022, Morocco reached a semi-final and Japan beat both Germany and Spain in the group stages. Nobody saw either coming. And the star players, the individuals who can change a game in one moment. Watch out for Mbappe, Harry Kane, Vinicius Jr., Messi, Ronaldo, and Lamine Yamal if he recovers from
There you go, Lamine Yamal.
injury in time. So
oh crap, he's injured? Dang, I didn't know that.
Kane, Vinicius Jr., Messi, Ronaldo, and Lamine Yamal if he recovers from injury in time. So when watching for the first time, don't just ask who is playing. Ask which category they fall into. How qualification works. Qualification is basically the road to the World Cup. Because there are so many countries in world football, FIFA does not simply put every nation into the final tournament. Instead, countries compete within their own football region, also known as a confederation. There are 6 main confederations. UEFA is Europe, CONMEBOL is South America, CAF is Africa, AFC is Asia, CONCACAF is North America, Central America, and the Caribbean, and OFC is Oceania. Each region gets a certain number of World Cup places, and within each region, countries play a series of matches against each other over months or even years. The top finishers earn their place at the World Cup, so qualification can look very different depending on where a country is from. For some major nations, qualifying is expected. For others, simply reaching the World Cup is a historic achievement. And for the 2026 World Cup, this matters even more because the tournament has expanded from 32 teams initially to 48 teams, meaning more countries than ever will get the chance to play on the biggest stage in football. How the World Cup...
Well, I wonder why that happened. Is it because... I don't know. Does anybody know why that happened? Why they expanded? I don't know why I thought it did. I thought just more teams qualify, but that doesn't make sense. So does anybody know why that happened? Curious.
Meaning more countries than ever will get the chance to play on the biggest stage in football. How the World Cup draw works. Once the teams have qualified, they are placed into the World Cup draw. The draw is where the tournament starts to take shape. It decides which team go into which groups and who each country will face in the first stage of the competition. Teams are usually separated into different pots before the draw. These pots are mainly used to stop all the strongest teams being placed together straight away. So instead of having one group full of elite teams and another group full of weaker teams, the draws try to spread them out more evenly. But even with that system, some groups can still end up much harder than others. That is where the phrase group of death comes in. It usually means a group with several strong teams, where even a good side could be knocked out early. So the World Cup draw does not decide who wins the tournament, but it can make a country's path much easier or much harder. The group stage explained. The group stage is the first part of the World Cup. After the draw, teams are placed into groups of 4. Each team plays the other 3 teams in the group, giving every side 3 matches to prove themselves. The aim is to collect enough points to finish high enough in the table and reach the knockout stage. In the 2026 World Cup, the top 2 teams from each group advance automatically. On top of that, the 8 best third place finishers from across all groups also go through. So finishing...
Okay, hold on. Okay, the top 2 teams from each group advance automatically. And then the 8 top teams from across all groups will advance. Okay. And how many groups did he say? Oh, right here. So that's 8 groups. And then there's 2 from each group, so that's 16. And then the top 8, so it's 24 teams advance. I think that's what I understand.
But it can make a country's path much easier or much harder. The group stage explained. The group stage is the first part of the World Cup. After the draw, teams are placed into groups of 4. Each team plays the other 3 teams in the group, giving every side 3 matches to prove themselves. The aim is to collect enough points to finish high enough in the table and reach the knockout stage. In the 2026 World Cup, the top 2 teams from each group advance automatically. On top of that, the 8 best third place finishers from across all...
There's more than 8 right there. Holy crap. So there's 6, 12. Oh, wow. 12 times 2 is 24. And then 8. So Yeah, so it's 32. Okay. 32 teams.
Advance automatically. On top of that, the 8 best third place finishers from across all groups also go through. So finishing third is not automatically the end, but it is a risk.
God dang it, I just noticed that.
Across all groups also go through.
He put 32 right there. I'm rewinding and doing all these things, trying to do the calculations, embarrassing myself doing all this, and it's right there. Wow. Way to go. Way to go.
So finishing third is not automatically the end, but it is a risk. This part of the tournament gives teams a little bit room for error. One bad result does not always end your World Cup, but it can also put you under serious pressure. For example, if a team wins its first match, they're usually in a strong position. But if a team loses their first match, their next game can suddenly feel like a must-win game. The group stage is where the tournament starts to build drama. Some favorites qualify comfortably, some big teams struggle, and sometimes smaller nations shock everyone. Points, goal differences, and tiebreakers. In the group stage, teams are ranked using points. A win gives you 3 points, a draw gives you 1 point, and a loss gives you 0 points. So if a team wins one match, draws one match, and loses one match, they finish with 4 points. But sometimes 2 or more teams can finish level on point. When that happens, the tournament needs tiebreakers to decide who finishes higher. The main one is usually goal difference. This means the number of goals a team has scored minus the number of goals they've conceded. So if a team scored 5 goals and concedes 2, their goal difference is +3. But if they score 2 and concede 5, their goal difference is -3. This is why every goal matters in the World Cup. A late goal in a group stage match might not just change that game, it could decide who qualifies and who goes home.
Wow, I didn't know that. Well, obviously I didn't know much about the World Cup and how that works, but that's really interesting. That's why somebody might try and run up the score or something like that, just so they can increase their chances of being safe.
Knockout stage. After the group stage, the World Cup moves into the knockout stage. This is where the tournament becomes much more brutal. In the group stage, a team can lose a match and still recover. But in the knockout stage, there are no second chances. If you win, you move on. If you lose, your World Cup is over. The knockout stage follows a clear path. The last 32 starts the process, and the last 16, then the quarterfinals, then the semi-finals, and finally, the final itself. With every round, the field gets smaller and the stakes get higher. Although not literally, the field does not literally get smaller, it just means there's less teams. There is also a third place playoff, where the 2 losing semi-finalists play one final match to decide who finishes third in the tournament. But it is...
Okay. I understand how that works. Okay.
Where the 2 losing semi-finalists play one final match to decide who finishes third in the tournament. But it is the final where everything comes together. The last 2 teams left compete to become world champions in front of a global audience.
I think that's it right there.
Comes together.
That's
the last
France.
2 teams left.
I think that's France. Oh yeah. Oh my God, I'm on a roll today. It says right at the bottom, Argentina versus France. I wasn't looking at that. I was just looking at the players. Okay.
Left compete to become world champions in front of a global audience of billions. This is also where pressure becomes much higher. Teams often play more carefully because one mistake, one red card, one missed chance, or one penalty shootout can send them home. So if the group stage is about surviving, the knockout stage is about handling pressure when everything is on the line. Extra time, penalties, and the final. In the group stage, matches can end in a draw, but in the knockout stage, every match needs a winner. So if a knockout game is level after 90 minutes, it goes to extra time. Extra time, as we've explained in previous videos, is 30 more minutes of football, split into 2 halves of 15 minutes. If one team is winning after extra time, they go through. But if the match is still level after extra time, it goes to a penalty shootout. In a penalty shootout, each team takes turns sending individual players to take a shot from the penalty spot, one-on-one against the goalkeeper. Each side starts with 5 attempts. The team that scores the most wins.
That's it right there. That's the one I remember.
If it is still level after 5 each, it continues 1 penalty at a time until one team misses and the other team scores. This is one of the most dramatic moments in football, and it was also how the World Cup ended in 2022. In tied tournaments can come...
damn, I was wrong. 2022, really? I guess I'm using like when we moved to, yeah, that makes sense. When we moved to Spain. Okay, 2022. Ah, crap, I didn't realize that. I thought it was 2018. But okay, yeah, that's what happened. That's when it was amazing from what I remember.
Down to one player, one shot, and one goalkeeper guessing the right way. Eventually, the knockout stage leads to the final, the last match of the tournament, where the last 2 teams standing compete in front of a global audience of billions. The winner lifts the World Cup and becomes world champion. And that is the basic structure of the World Cup. However, if you want to take it further and get a proper grounding in football itself, I've put together the Football Explained Beginner Starter.
Man, that was really, really good, informative. I have an understanding now. I mean, you know, if you follow sports, the format and everything is pretty common when it comes to a tournament. You know, most of it anyway. But now I'm kind of excited. Do people have, like, you know, in the U.S. they have March Madness with the basketball teams. I think it's 64 teams compete, and then you have everybody does the pool, the pool, and they do the brackets and all that. Do people do that? If they do, let me know in the comments. Maybe we can get together and I can do something like that. But I'm definitely going to be following it because I want to see how Spain does, and then I have to see what other teams are in there that I think are going to be good. So that was a lot of fun. Hopefully you liked that reaction there. If you did and you want to see more just like it, then subscribe to the channel, man. My name's Greg. I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.